Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Thursday! It is Thursday, and yeah, I'm back to talk about. I talked about it yesterday, but I'm back to talk about toxic positivity, and it may not be what you think it is. So, we all like to throw around terms. Excuse me. Oh, it's happening again. What is happening? We all like to throw around terms, and even I do it. I'm guilty of it as well. And then it's like I look it up, and it's like, oh. So I thought, before I talk about toxic positivity, which came up in yesterday's self-care show, I thought, you know what, I'm going to look this up and I want to talk about it because I think it's really important to talk about. So I looked up a few definitions, I looked up a couple of quotes and stuff that regard it, and I think I came up with the right thing. Okay, and I went back to the original thought that I Googled, and original thing that came up, because they all pretty much said the same thing. So again, as always, take what resonates with you, and let's do this. Okay, and I also, for the end of the show, have the morning mantra. So, from the ever gloriously sarcastic deck of affirmators. So, toxic positivity versus positivity. It may not be what you think it is. So, toxic positivity is the act of avoiding, suppressing, or rejecting negative emotions or experiences. It is a pressure to stay upbeat no matter how dire one's circumstance is. This may take the form of denying your own emotions, insisting on positive thinking instead. Toxic positivity happens when people believe that negative thoughts about anything should be avoided. That's a no-no. So the one of the quotes I looked up, or one of the other definitions I said, should say, from successlifelounge.com, says, the overgeneralization of a happy, optimistic state that results in the denial, minimization, and invalidation of the authentic human emotional experience. Another way I think, from my perspective, that we can put this is fake it till you make it. I was great at doing the fake it till you make it. It was so good that when I didn't have to do it anymore, it was kind of like, wait, am I doing the fake it till I make it, or am I actually feeling these things? So, I think, I know, you can see I'm tripping over this, because this is something that I'm also relearning about this, and, there are boundaries that can be set with toxic positivity, and, I don't want people to go out and shame other people who do this, okay? A lot of times, they may be coming from a good place, and I'm speaking from experience, because whenever I did this, whenever I caught, I don't even know that I caught myself until I look back now and think, wow, that was me. But I don't want to shame myself, and I don't want to shame anybody else for having done this, because a lot of times this is what it takes to get us through to the next thing. But you have to honor your feelings. You have to honor your emotions. That's how you get through them. You have to feel it to heal it. You have to go through it to grow through it. And if you don't, you're going to probably end up stuck. I want to say you're going to end up stuck, but other people may say that didn't work for me. So, again, take what resonates. But in my perspective and in my own personal experience, until I learn to become one with my emotions and to move through them and give them a proper, send off, or give them the proper attention that they needed, I was kind of a toxic positivity person. It's like, well, it'll be okay. Don't worry about it. And because that's what I needed to do. Then that's what I thought everyone else needed to do. And that's not what everybody else needs. Sometimes we can overstep, and we don't mean to. So you just remember one of the golden rules in life. You cannot fix other people. Okay? You cannot fix other people. You can help them. You can guide them. But you cannot fix them. All right? You cannot fix them. And once I think we learn that we cannot fix other people, I think it becomes a little more clear to us of what we need to work on in ourselves. A lot of times we go out there and we try to fix other people because we can't fix what's in ourselves. And sometimes that's where the toxic positivity comes from. We can't fix it in ourselves, so we try to fix it in somebody else, or we try to fix everything around us, because if everything around us looks pretty and sparkly and shiny and rainbowy, then it's going to be okay, right? But it's not, because you still got all this stuff that you got to deal with inside of you. So the difference to me between toxic positivity and being a positive person is, knowing when you're in a situation that requires you to pay attention to it, that requires you to honor those feelings, to honor those emotions, to give compassion and empathy to those emotions and to other people's as well. If somebody's going through something horrible, we'll go with something generic, right? Someone's going through a breakup, all right, and it may have felt like it was somebody who was the love of their life, and they're sitting there and it's like, I can't believe this happened. Don't sit there and go, well, you can do better. You'll find the right one. You'll find the person. No, right now they just need you to listen. Maybe you can save that for later, because I'm pretty sure they already know this. But they're honoring their feelings. They're honoring what they're going through in that moment. They're honoring, the devastation that sits in that moment. We can go with another generic one. When I lost my job, when I got laid off, when they eliminated my position, it felt personal. It felt very personal. And I took it personally. And whether it was personal or not, I took it personally, and it hurt me. It was like breaking up with somebody. I spent 15 years of my life in that place. It become my identity, which might have been a mistake too, because it became my identity. It became everything that I thought was me. And, it broke me. But everyone kept saying, oh, you'll find something better. You'll find people that, will treat you better, that will be kinder to you, that will be more open and understanding. And, it was fine. It was fine. And I appreciated that, because, nobody really knows what to say, right? Sibling just sat with me. She was probably the only one that didn't say anything. She just sat with me. She got angry with me. She got sad with me. And I'm not saying what the other people did was wrong. It wasn't. They were trying to help. But, when I would open up a couple months later about how I was feeling, oh, you're still on that? You're still worried about that? Don't worry about that. You'll find something better. But it hurt. It was like a breakup. And, at the time I wasn't good at letting things go like I am now. And I'm getting better and better at learning how to let things go. On a side note, this is to show what happens when you teach yourself how to heal and grow. Yesterday, so I admit, I love technology, but sometimes technology I don't use confuses the shite out of me. And I was trying to learn how to use the iCloud. Okay, I have an iPhone, so I was trying to learn how to use the iCloud. And I got confused on, I thought I was turning certain things off that I didn't want in the cloud. And it turns out I accidentally deleted about 10 years worth of notes from my phone in that little notes section. You all know the app if you have an iPhone. And about 6 months worth of journaling in the new journal app, or however many months it's been up. And I don't really journal much in that journal app, because I like to physically write or type it into the computer. But that's where I kept thoughts that I knew I needed to journal later. And I accidentally deleted all of it. And there were things in there that, were kind of like, wait, I can't believe I did that. Or, just stuff that I was like, and all of a sudden it's just kind of like, all I said was, uh-oh. And sibling's like, what? And I told her, and she's like, oh, can you get it back? I'm like, I don't know, I'm looking now. And it showed me how, but it didn't work. So it might have just been me. However, in that moment, I thought about something. Part of the journey of healing and moving forward is letting go of the past. Letting go of, what happened yesterday, the day before. Some people are able to live very present in the moment. I've never really been good at that, and I'm trying. I either live too far behind me or too far ahead of me, hoping and dreaming and all that stuff. But I'm learning how to be more present and more mindful in the moment. And so with that thought, I thought, well, I looked at her, across the room, and I said, you know what? Maybe it was meant to happen. Maybe I was meant to let go of all that stuff. Maybe I wasn't supposed to keep, holding on to that. There are things in the notes that I do remember, including Aunt Phil's spinach dip recipe, which I'm gonna side note on this again. Every time I go shopping, I know it's the spinach dip recipe, and I always come home without the spinach, the frozen spinach. I know. When sibling and I laugh about it every time. The last 3 years, I have forgotten the spinach. How do you forget the spinach and the spinach dip? I even remember the crackers, but I forgot the spinach dip, or the spinach for the dip. Oh, I know, it's kind of the joke now, but that being said, I moved through the emotion, and instead of saying, well, it'll be okay with myself, I moved through how I felt about that. I didn't say, well, okay, fine. It'll be great. It'll be fine. All the usual, everything happens for a reason, right? And it wasn't quite a moment where toxic positivity could have been involved for my situation, but it could have been involved in other situations. If it was something on a more grander scale. Like I said, we did the generic things, the breakups, right? The losing one's job. Those are the things that can really hurt us and harm us, and physically and emotionally. And when I say physically, I mean, sometimes you can get so into yourself that you can make yourself sick. All right, I've seen people do this over their birthdays, make themselves so physically ill. So again, I'm going to read this again. All right, toxic positivity is the act of avoiding, suppressing, or rejecting negative emotions or experiences. It is a pressure to stay upbeat no matter how dire one's circumstance is. This may take the form of denying your own emotions, insisting on positive thinking instead. Toxic positivity happens when people believe that negative thoughts about toxic positivity happens when some people believe that negative thoughts about anything should be avoided. You have to honor your feelings. If you're angry about a situation you're in, if you're upset about a situation you're in, if you're scared, you're nervous, you're frightened, you're worried, you're doubting, honor those feelings and let them go. Give them a little space to tell their story. And then remind yourself, you know what? I can move past this, but I have to go through this feeling first. I have to go through this emotion, because if I keep suppressing it and suppressing it and suppressing it, it is going to manifest physically, or it is going to manifest, in me just spouting out at somebody else, just being angry or lashing out in the direction that doesn't, I don't need to, lash out in. And so the other definition was the overgeneralization of a happy, optimistic state that results in the denial, minimization, and invalidation of the authentic human emotional experience. And again, that's from successlifelounge.com. And I really like that one better to me. I think it speaks more to the, not just the emotional experience. The other one is very good in explaining what it is, but I think this one really says it all. The overgeneralization of a happy, optimistic state that results in the denial, minimization, and an invalidation of the authentic human emotional experience. When something bad happens to you, okay, let's go back to the generic. Siblings talking about, she says, I know I have a copy of it somewhere, and if I don't, Steve does. I'm not really sure what you're talking about, sibling. I'm sorry. Don't forget, everybody, if you're watching this later, this is a live. So, we'll go back to the generic example, right, of when you break up with someone. So say, the last person I dated, I broke up with them because there was just a lot that was not, there was no communication. There was no, let me put it this way. I thought this was somebody I was going to be with for the rest of my life. And this is years ago. I know it's been that long since I've dated someone, but ever. But it didn't feel right anymore. Oh, the spinach dip, right? Of course. Sorry. We talked about that last night too. And it didn't feel right anymore. And so I had to let go. So using myself as an example, even though I was the one that ended that relationship, and after months and months of trying to communicate with my ex-boyfriend and trying to help him see where I was coming from, only to be met with him being defensive and saying, basically just not being in tune to what I was trying to have an adult conversation about. I didn't feel it anymore. But it broke my heart. It broke my heart. I mean, it took me, I'm not going to lie, it took me a long, long time. It took me years to get over it because it hurt so much. But I didn't really honor my feelings. I kind of fell into them. So I went, I took a situation that probably could have been healed within, a short amount of time. But I don't want to say short. I mean, I was grieving a relationship, but the thing is I kind of took it and I used it as a catalyst for, extra anger, right? For my being, oh, well, this is why I'm single, because I'm still not over it, because I was afraid. I didn't want to have my heart broken again. It was scary. And, but people might think that, because I'm the one that broke up with this person that, I didn't hurt. I hurt. He moved on faster than I did. Still haven't. I mean, it's not that I still haven't moved on. I've just been pretty much eternally single. but I mean, within months he had moved on because I was talking to a mutual friend, and they're, oh yeah, he's in. And I think the kicker is he thought I was cheating on him, and I think that hurt even more, and that just added fuel to the. In that time, I could have said, you know what, screw it. The communication was bad, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. I'm happy. I did the right thing, blah, blah. And I wouldn't have honored my feelings. And if I didn't honor my feelings, it could have led to something and no changes. Because I've changed since then. It took me a long time, but I've changed since then. Because all the relationships I used to have, they defined me. They didn't complete my life or they didn't add to my life. I mean, they did in their own ways, but they defined me. Because I felt like I was nothing without being in something. And it's taken me a long, long time to learn all this. And it's been hurtful. It's been hard. I mean, it's been hard. It's not been easy. I mean, even my own family has given up on, whether or not I'll ever find somebody again. But, sometimes the organic way is just the easier way, But, and it's not actually easy. It's harder. But that's a story for another day. Okay. I'm using this as a perspective, or as a, my perspective on how we can handle different things. Should I have stayed in my emotions as long as I did? Absolutely not. But I didn't understand how to be positive back then. I didn't, my mental health was not where it should be, and it would not be where it should be for a while because I was dealing with other things that had just come out in therapy. The first time I ever went to therapy. And so there was just a lot. There was a lot. I mean, a lot of the stuff that happened to me when I was younger, it kind of affected a big part of my life. It affected the relationships I was in and, my need to feel validated and my need to feel needed. Didn't even matter if it was loved, just needed. I felt like I had to be in something to prove that I could do this. And so, in a way, I went in the opposite direction. But later, when I did, I did get into the point in my healing from that relationship of toxic positivity, where it's like, yeah, well, I'm good. I don't need it. I'm fine. Blah, blah, blah. I don't need this. I don't need that. And everything's honky-dory. Everything's great. Everything's beautiful. Everything's wonderful. And yet you still feel sad and lonely, because you feel like you should be over it, but it still hurts. I'll use my mother, for example. My mother passed away 10 years ago, 2 weeks from today. So it is actually this weekend where she started kind of just drifting out of our lives very slowly. This weekend will mark 10 years when a lot of family, even Tucson family, came out to say goodbye to her. And when my mom and I had our big talk, that my cousin who had lost her father already said, you need to have the talk that leaves everything on the table and nothing left unsaid, because that's very, very important. And we had that talk, and I held on to that grief for a long time. And I held on to it because I needed something to be angry about. Now, to go back farther, going back to the stuff I was talking about when I was a kid, I think that's why I held on to that anger from the failed relationship. because it validated me. I'm a failure. I can't keep anything together. I can't do anything right. Maybe I messed up this great relationship, or maybe I walked away from something that could have been. When I look back on that relationship with healthy eyes, it was probably the healthiest relationship I had, but it was not healthy. It was not healthy. And that's no disrespect to him. That is absolutely no disrespect to him. He was a very good person. He was a very kind, wonderful, loving person. But we were very different. And I don't think differences really matter. I think sometimes it's great, right? When opposites attract and they learn things. My mom hated sports. I shouldn't say hated sports. My mom didn't like sports when she met my dad. If I wanted to spend time with your father, I had to learn sports. And that was kind of the generational thinking, right? Well, I have to do this so I can blah, blah. But boy, I tell you, my mom became fanatical. I mean, this woman, she would leave a room if the Chargers were losing because she thought it was her fault. I can't say anything because I did too. I mean, my family was very superstitious. Dad had a ritual and everything. But you know what? I see her point. Because, that was love. She loved my dad enough. She wanted to spend time with him. So she learned what he liked to do. And he learned what she liked to do. It took him a while, but he got there. And they were happy. And they did things together. And where there was just, like I said, when I look back, I was kind of in a toxic positivity state in that relationship. I wasn't really happy with some of the things required of me. I wasn't really happy with some of the things I had to do, which kind of put my own family and my own needs on the sideline. And, to put this person at the front and on a pedestal, which is where I kept them. And because of that, I sacrificed a lot of my own time with my family, my own self. And I just smiled and said, oh, but you know what? I'm in love. I'm this, I'm that. And I see it now as being kind of a toxic, positivity kind of relationship. And, communication's key. All right. I know I'm kind of all over the place with this, but I'll be honest with you. I am kind of finding my feet, my sea legs in this. Because I do, like I said, I see my old behavior. I see my behavior now. And it's kind of learning how to let that go. And I've learned in the last several years how to tune into my emotions, how to honor them, how to feel them, how to just say, hey, you know what? I'm angry. I know this. Sometimes I get this like weird tick. It's like this weird guttural, throaty kind of like a cat thing almost, like kind of tick in my throat. And whenever I get that, I realize now something's trying to come out. And it's like it's just stuck vibrating in my, right in my voice box. It's just kind of like, la, la, la. And I'll make these weird noises. But then after I either honor that feeling or I journal it out, it's gone. I know. And it's the weirdest thing. It's taken me almost my entire life to realize what that is. Actually, I may have just realized what it is right now. So thank you. Because thanks to all of you and me talking to you, I think I just figured out what that was. But what I was going to say before that came out of my mouth, just kind of spewed out there, I was going to say I get kind of like agitated and stiff when I know I need to write something, when I know I need to get something out. And I think that's my body's tell, because it's not always going to be at the forefront of our mind, right? Sometimes it might be subconscious. Sometimes it might be an unconscious thought. And an unconscious thought is something that's not even sitting in your subconscious. It's just kind of sitting in your body, kind of like your little inner child, right? Your little floof. And it's saying, excuse me, knock, knock, knock. We need some attention. Okay, we need you to get this out so we can heal. And when we ignore these things, when we say, you know what, I'm fine. It doesn't matter what happened to me when I was a kid. I blah, blah, blah. I have a great family. I have wonderful parents. I have, great friends. Why should I let that bother me? And some people will say that. Well, you have all these wonderful things. Why do you let? Because it's damaging. And that's another place where toxic positivity can come in. So remember, honor your feelings. Trust them. They might hurt. They might bring up emotions. I think that's a lot of times, I think a lot of times that's why people turn to the toxic positivity. I'm not really sure I like that saying, but I get it. To me, toxic is like something that's going to kill you. Toxic positivity is just whatever, it is what it is. But I think in order to be a positive person, we have to move out of the toxic positivity. We have to move into a place that says, hey, you know what? I'm feeling like shit today. So I'm going to honor those feelings. I'm going to try to figure out why. Whether you journal it on your phone, on your computer, or in a book. Whether you just kind of maybe talk it out loud to yourself, get it up and out. You got to feel it to heal it. You got to go through it to grow through it. And if you ignore these emotions, you ignore these feelings, you suppress them, as it says here, avoiding, suppressing, or rejecting a negative emotion or experience. When you do that, you're not doing yourself a service. You're doing yourself a big disservice, because you're not honoring what is happening inside of you that needs to come out. And it's going to fester. And like I said, it may come up and out and lash out at somebody else. So in order for it not to do that, just practice positivity, practice positive affirmations. Positive affirmations are amazing. A lot of people may think that that's toxic positivity. To me, it's not. Because eventually, if you repeat something enough, your body starts to feel it. You start to believe it, right? What's that old quote? But it's repetition. It's meditation. I did my exercises this morning. I did my workout, and then I sat in the chair for my cool down and I just meditated. But I meditated with positive affirmations, and not all of them resonated with me. Now, I didn't feel all of them. And then I realized, oh, I'm not feeling all of them because I'm just going through the motions of repeating what they're saying. I'm just going through the motions of repetition instead of feeling it. So then I thought, you know what? I'm going to try to say the next ones and repeat it. Now, the one thing I like about the affirmations I do in the morning is they'll say it, and then halfway through the video, they'll go backwards and they'll do it again. So you're getting it twice. Okay. You're hearing it twice and you're saying it twice. So, but if you find someone that is just hanging on by a thread, don't sit there and say, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. You're going to get back on the horse. They may not be ready for that. Now when I talk to when I talk to baby sibling, we have a way, because she's not always ready to talk about things, right? And this is the old thing. We haven't had to do this in a while, but I'll ask her, do you want to know what I think? Or do you want me to just sit here and listen? Or I say, do you want me to listen? Or do you want to hear what I think? And she'll tell me. And for us, that works perfectly, because I did tend to overstep. I did tend to overuse the toxic positivity with her because I couldn't find the healing in myself. And when that strained our relationship for a little while, I mean, it's all better now, thank goodness. And we talk about it now. And I still thank her, thank you for not booting me to the curb, because I realized, she's like, I know you needed something. She's like, I know inside of you something needed to heal. And I did figure it out eventually, once I stopped trying to fix everybody else. And once I stopped trying to spread my toxic positivity onto other people, saying, oh, it'll be fine, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. So now, like I said, we just, feel free to use it if it resonates. Do you want me to just sit here and listen? Or, do you want to talk about it, or do you want to hear what I have to say about it? And sometimes those last two things go together, So, give them the option. And just let them know, hey, I'm here. But, sometimes, like with older sibling doesn't like to burden people with her stuff. So a lot of times I have to sit there and go, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And it's like, just tell me, and it's hard. It's like pulling teeth. Okay. It's like, actually I should say, because yesterday on the news, they reported somebody caught a marlin, right? It's like fishing. It's like trying to catch a marlin. Trying to hook it and just say, please just open up to me, and it's like, you tell me to open up to you. You need to learn how to open up to me, because I'll either sit here and listen, or we can talk about it. It's up to you. But that's how I feel you can move through the toxic positivity. Because again, I don't think people intend to utilize toxic positivity. There may be something broken or hurting or fractured or just in pain inside of that person, that this may be the only way they're holding on by a thread. And so maybe turn around and ask them, is everything okay with you? Instead of getting upset, just try to understand where they might be trying to come from. I mean, there are people in this world who, don't really struggle with trauma. They might have their regular, everyday, normal people life things happening, and nothing wrong with that. But they may just say, they may be a cheery person. They may be a happy person. Oh, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be great. Everything's sunshine and roses and blah, 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 blah. I think for them, they're just trying to help. All right. But just tell them, look, don't just say, I don't need your toxic positivity, because that just makes the whole situation toxic. Just say, you know what? I just need you to please dial it down just a second, because I'm not feeling like sunshine and roses right now. I just want you to listen. And you might actually help them learn how to become a better listener instead of just trying to fix it with their cheery disposition, which is great. It's always great to have somebody in your life who has a cheery disposition from no other place but the heart. That's why I said I sometimes struggle with the whole idea of toxic positivity, because I think, people do try to help. And I think if you communicate and you don't, if you sit there and get mad at them and walk away and just say, oh my God, I can't stand that person because they're just stupidly optimistic. I get that sometimes, not stupidly optimistic, but people would just be like, yeah, you're a little too positive for me. And that's fine. I post positive stuff on my Facebook, because, it makes the people that, I'm friends and family with, they love that stuff. It makes me smile. A lot of times I post it because it makes me smile. And so I think, well, I'm just going to share this. Some of them are pretty mean. Okay. I have to share one where I think I shared this before, where the kid had a lotus candle, the ones where it lights up and then it opens, and it freaked her out so bad. She literally fell backwards, lost her balance, and fell off the chair. And I legit laughed. I did. And not out of cruelty, but because I'm like, the first thing I thought is, that is something I would do. And it's probably something I would do as an adult if someone put a candle that close to my face. But I wouldn't put it past me. But it still makes me laugh thinking about it, because it's like, oh my God, that is Shelly Marie as a child. But, it's not meant to be toxic. It's meant to, I post a lot of things. Sometimes it's hard to post, mental health advocacy things, because then everybody's, are you okay? It's like, I'm fine. So now I have to preface that with, I'm fine. I'm just sharing this. But just think about that, okay? And, if you're the kind of person that does go around trying to tell everybody, oh, it'll be all right, don't worry about it, sunshines and roses and puppies and kittens, right? Don't shame yourself. If someone says that you've got toxic positivity happening, don't shame yourself. Learn. Reroute, right? Like yesterday, reroute and readjust, and just sit there and say, hey, you know what? Give them 3 options. Do you want me to sit here and listen? Do you want me to have a conversation with you about this? Or do you want me to shower you with sunshine and roses and puppies and kittens? Oh, hi, Christina. That was funny. She remembers the video. Oh my God, I was dying. Okay, and she's a mom. Okay, and she laughed. So I feel redeemed and a little validated. So, but it was funny. I'm sorry, it was funny. So, if the parent didn't think it was funny, they wouldn't have posted it on Facebook. But, this is something I know my parents would have done if video or if phone cameras and stuff like that were in existence when I was a child. Because I will share this, all right? Just to make you feel better about this little kid falling off the chair. When I was 5 years old, my parents threw me a surprise party, but it wasn't at our house. It was at an auntie and uncle's house. And everybody yelled surprise as I walked in with my dad, and I ran outside and ran around to the back of the house, to the side of the house. I freaked out, and I ran right out the door, and all I heard in the background was, where's she going? I still remember that. Where's she going? I don't remember the rest of the day. I remember walking in, getting scared because everyone's yelling surprise and running out. So, so there you go. That's why I said that is something Shelly Marie would do. So anyways, and good morning, older sibling. I know we talked about the spinach dip, but I forgot to say good morning. So anyways, I'm not sure if I really made it clear what the difference between toxic positivity and positivity is. But again, like I said, give people a choice. All right. If you feel like you might fall into that situation, I'm still learning how to move through my feelings, and I'm still learning how to honor other people's feelings. So I'm not going to lie when I say that I may still teeter between toxic positivity and positivity, but I do try to stay positive. I would rather see people be positive than people out there being hateful and negative. Okay. One of the things I have written on a whiteboard in my room is, yes, I have a whiteboard in my room, but it's actually a sticky whiteboard, so it sticks to my closet, but it's technically a whiteboard material. It says Zen Warrior. And that's actually a story of somebody who I'm going to share. You know what? I think I'll share that Monday. I'm going to do a little thing on the Zen Warrior on Monday, okay? Because I think there is nothing wrong with being, someone who will fight for the right things, but also having this, Zen kind of feeling inside of you, just feeling one with everything. And I think that's the little common ground. That's the balance right there between toxic positivity and positivity. Toxic positivity, I truly believe, is trying to come from a good place, but if someone isn't ready for it, the positivity, it can damage them, it can hurt them, and it can hurt your relationship with them. So just, give them the options, give them multiple choice. Do you want me to just listen? Do you want me to listen and talk? Do you want me to shower you with all the wonderful things that I could say about you because you need to be uplifted or whatever? All right, give them a choice. So I'm going to read this one last time just so it sticks in your head on what toxic positivity is versus regular positivity. Okay, so toxic positivity is the act of avoiding, suppressing, or rejecting negative emotions or experiences. It is a pressure to stay upbeat no matter how dire one's circumstance is. This may take the form of denying your own emotions, insisting on positive thinking instead. Toxic positivity happens when people believe that negative thoughts about anything should be avoided. And also from successlifelounge.com, the overgeneralization of a happy, optimistic state that results in the denial, minimization, and invalidation of the authentic human emotional experience. So to sum it up, honor your feelings, give them a little room to, let out their steam, and then send them on their way. But you have to honor those feelings. Give it some compassion, give it some empathy, give it a talking to if you need to, and then let it go. All right. So I did promise, little affirmator card. Oh, look at this. Look at this. I don't read them, guys. I just pull them out. So I like the little, speaking of birthday cakes, that one's falling apart. I'll do my best today, no matter what. Even if my best is way, 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 way less than perfect, it still counts. I may have added an extra way. So again, I'll do my best today, no matter what. Even if my best is way, way, way less than perfect, it still counts. And it does still count. So anyways, go out there, have a wonderful day. I'll see everybody back here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Aloha Oracle Friday, so I'll be back Monday. I'm going to talk about the Zen Warrior that I read about. It was such an interesting story. So I'll talk about that on Monday. But go out there, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. For those of you who don't join me for Aloha Oracle Friday, again, tomorrow is Aloha Oracle Friday. I don't post those to social media. I think I posted to TikTok, but that might be the only place. However, I do post everything that I do here onto my YouTube channel under the Aloha Perspective. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you can find it here. If you're not friends with me on Facebook, you can still find it here. All lives are public. Again, I go live at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time on Facebook Live. I also share it to my Facebook page, the Aloha Perspective. And, if you enjoy either the Facebook page or the YouTube page, please feel free to click and subscribe. If you follow me on the Aloha Perspective Facebook, I can go live once I hit a certain amount of people from there instead of here. So again, you can find me under Shelly Marie Lucas every morning, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. And once more, every Friday is Aloha Oracle Friday. Every Wednesday is Self-Care Wednesday. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. And go out there, be a positive person. Okay. Be a positive person. Just be there for other people. Have a great day.